Hello, my name is Peter Tremblay, and this is my presentation on the four learning models. The traditional learning model is what most of us grew up learning in. All the students at desks facing the front of the room while a teacher presented the lessons for the class. This is a very structured learning model with everyone expected to be in the same place at the same time as everyone else. This learning model is a teacher-centered approach, and it really puts the students in the passenger seat of their education, relying on the teacher to provide them with the bulk of the knowledge they are to learn. So, what are the pros and cons of the traditional learning method? Perhaps one of the biggest advantages is that the students and teachers are physically together throughout the learning process. This gives students the opportunity to ask questions, receive instant feedback on assignments, and interact personally with others in the classroom. A major downside to this method is that it requires the students to all be in the same place at the same time for each lesson, meaning if you miss a class for some reason, you're now behind the rest of the group. When it comes to the traditional learning model, it really is best suited for younger students or students who may not have many life commitments. This model requires you to be in a classroom at specific times on specific days. So essentially, you're adjusting your schedule around it. Although the traditional learning model requires the use of a physical classroom, you as a teacher should be innovative in the way that you utilize the space. Instead of having just rows of desks lined up facing the same direction, you should try to come up with layouts in the room that promote collaboration and teamwork as well as creativity. This method of learning involves the most teacher-student engagement and requires you as a teacher to be the driver of the student's education. You will need to present yourself in a way that lets the students know that you care about them and their success. Web-facilitated learning utilizes technological advancements within the almost traditional classroom. Who else remembers when they were younger in elementary school and the teacher handing out a math worksheet that had been photocopied so many times that it was blurry and half the page was missing? I know I do. Utilizing different technologies in the classroom, such as computer, educational websites, gives us the opportunity to expand our courses and provide up-to-date and meaningful material to our classes. Web-facilitated learning offers many benefits as well as some drawbacks. The use of technology can increase student engagement with the course material as they are not spacing out during long lectures. Also, web facilitation can reduce long-term costs in education with the use of open educational resources. These resources can provide valuable information for your courses and are often kept more up to date than a traditional textbook. So what are the drawbacks? Well, having computers, tablets, and cell phones in a classroom can cause distractions among students if not supervised or utilized correctly. Also, solely relying on the technology to teach students can cause them to feel or become socially disconnected from the teacher or the other students. And of course, when it does come to the vast amount of information available online, students must be aware of where the information they're using is coming from. Still better aimed at younger students, and it is still a classroom-based education model that requires scheduling the same as a traditional learning model. This model gives teachers the ability to integrate technology into their lessons. The use of technology gives teachers the opportunities to let their students search out the information they need for the specific lesson at hand, utilizing things like OERs and educational videos. Teachers are also able to create assessments that can go beyond the typical quiz, such as discussion boards, peer assessments, and software that grades answers as you are filling them out. This also allows teachers the opportunity to begin putting the students in the driver's seat of their education, as they are allowed to use their own sources and find the answers they need. Blended learning is just what its name implies, a blending of educational models, primarily a mix of web-facilitated, online, and traditional education. This model of learning allows students more of an opportunity to take control of their education and that they can typically work when and where they choose to. Students utilize online instruction for their classes. However, They also must spend some time in a brick and mortar location as well. Though not as frequent as a traditional student, this can still cause scheduling issues with adult learners who have other life commitments. When we look at the benefits of blended learning, we can immediately see that this model puts the student in more control of their education. The students are given the task they must complete, the deadlines, and some resources to start with, and then they are free to engage the lessons as they see fit. Now, if the student is not a self-motivated learner or has trouble keeping on task, then they do run the risk of falling behind. Another benefit is that blended learning offers many opportunities for collaboration among students. Now, there is only a small portion of the course that occurs within a school setting, so this is mainly digital collaboration, such as discussion boards and group work. This type of collaboration requires that students be knowledgeable about the technology they are using, which may cause some issues for the digital illiterate. The other downside is that blending learning is technology dependent, meaning if a student loses their internet connection, there really are not a lot of options to complete the lesson. So I feel the most important thing a teacher can do when it comes to blended learning is ensure that the curriculum, assessments, and information is all connected in a meaningful way, and that the teacher is truly engaged. I found myself helping my daughter with her homework this week. She currently attends a virtual high school that follows a blended learning model. She came to me because she was having a problem with a 3-question quiz. The first question read, based on scenario 1, write the formula in the following ways. The issue was there was no scenario 1 anywhere on the quiz or in the lesson. So I told her to write in the answer block that she could not answer the question because there was no scenario 1 for the question. The teacher's feedback on the quiz was, you need to use scenario 1 for the question. This type of assessment and engagement, I feel, is exactly why a student would give up on any type of online course. And to let me know that the teacher probably has not taken the time to view the course material herself. I believe that to keep the students engaged in the course, you at least need to know what issues there are with it and provide accurate guidance to your students. Online learning. Online learning is education that takes place over the internet. So I know that definition I chose is a little basic and vague, but I did that because online education gives you so much freedom that you can take something basic like that definition and turn it into something great. The first definition came from me simply putting online education definition into Google and picking the first thing that came up. The second definition, online education, is defined as the creation and proliferation of their personal computer, the globalization of ideas and other human acts, and the use of technology in exchanging ideas and providing access to more people, came from me putting best definition of online learning into Google and then taking the time to see if I could find a better choice than the first one. This is the power and freedom we get from online education. Both as students and teachers, we are allowed to use a never-ending, always updating vault of information known as the internet to take classes as well as create our classes and assessments. Of course, freedom is the biggest benefit of online education. For many adults who have other life commitments like work or children, the possibility of being able to attend school anywhere at any time is a great benefit. I myself have typed up discussion board replies while sitting in car ride or line, waiting for my daughters to get out of school. Combine this with the fact that according to Affordable Colleges Online, the cost of an online undergraduate degree is roughly half the cost of the same degree at a campus, then the continuing education opportunities become available for so many more people. Now, there are some downsides to the online experience. There is limited social interaction, and the chance to actually meet your teacher face to face is not there. I did place time zone constraints on this slide because for myself, I have to deal with this every week since I'm in a different time zone than my actual school. It's just something I have to pay attention to when submitting assignments. The last possible downside is that online education requires students who are motivated to learn and willing to take their education into their own hands. This is really only a downside if you're not a motivated learner, or if you're motivated, but the others in your classroom are not. So for myself, online education has been my educational method of choice. I feel that with the freedoms allowed that I can manage all my responsibilities and still get my education. But I've also had a pretty positive experience with online education overall. I feel that my success is due mostly to the professors and instructors that I have had who created an online learning environment that I wanted to stay in. When it comes to creating a syllabus, I will admit that it was not until I had to create one for a course that I actually read one for the course I was taking. I feel like I may have hurt myself in previous courses by not reading them. The expectations, schedule of assignments, and just general information that is provided in well-written syllabuses can provide a student great insight to the course they are about to take. More important to me, though, and what I feel helped me the most, was the instructor engagement and feedback. Yeah, I've had some courses where the instructor only did the weekly post at the beginning of each unit and rarely commented on my discussion posts. But more so, I have seen instructors who have devoted much of their time to posting announcements, sometimes multiple announcements in one day, about current assignments or information that we just needed to know. Say, if students were struggling on a specific assignment, the clarification and guidance was given. I feel that the best thing a teacher could do in an online course is be present for the class and show that they are there to help and lead students through the course. Thank you for watching this presentation, and please take some time to review the references I have included on the last slides.